Morgan, you spend a lot of time on campuses and just advocating for the next generation. We see instances of teachers asserting these LGBTQIA, whatever you want to call it, talking points in classrooms often. Why do you think that is?
You know, they want to continue to share their woke leftist ideology because they have this power grab. A lot of these public school teachers think that they can get away with anything, especially on college campuses if they're tenured or if they have the school board backing them, to where they're going to continue to spout things like you can change your gender or asking for students to use their preferred pronouns, which I think is absolutely ludicrous. And it also is the result when there isn't truth and false anymore, when you are actually promoting the idea that things that are inherently incorrect can be correct. And so even something as simple as she, her versus he, him, Mr. and Mrs., and using the pronouns that are assigned to you biologically at birth in a classroom, which is the appropriate thing to do, is now getting the lines blurred, which I just think is really unfortunate to these students' futures because it is vastly confusing to young children. And I'm sure that parents had no say or knowledge in this until it was brought to the public eye.
Yeah, and Morgan, I think back to Jordan Peterson. When I first got, interested in what he was saying, I remember I think it was the province of Alberta that was trying to force him to say these pronouns, and he said, I would do it, but I don't want to be forced to do it. And that was at the college level, so it's important to recognize that these are elementary school children. They're not even college-age kids, so why do you think some of these teachers insist on forcing these young ones, so young at the elementary age, to adhere to such a ridiculous concept?
Like I said, I think it's a power grab, and I think it's because they genuinely believe this ideology that is so damaging to our society that they will do anything that they can to try and persuade the youngest generation that we have, that we're supposed to be raising and protecting, to get them to believe something that is not true. And I think that these teachers should be fired for it. I think that school board members that are trying to have pornographic books in the library should be fired for that. I think that anybody who is trying to remove reality and common sense from the classroom needs to be held accountable for it.
And Morgan, can you comment, or do you have any words on what parents are saying about this situation? You are always on the ground and always getting that information, and we just want to hear your perspective.
Yeah, anytime I talk to parents, especially conservative parents whose kids still are in public schools, maybe they don't have the option to send their children to private schools or homeschool their children, are very concerned with what public education is heading towards. A lot of these school boards just aren't being held accountable for the decisions that are being made, or aren't listening to the parents in their districts. And I think it's really important for parents to be directly involved in their parents or in their children's educations so that they know exactly what is happening in those classrooms.
Morgan, I was really encouraged. A couple of weeks ago, I went to the Moms for Liberty Summit in Orlando, and there was a middle school charter, pilot program for Turning Point ambassadors. These two young kids. It was amazing. They did Build-A-Bears with Charlie Kirk. You probably know about this. I think this is great that Turning Point is getting involved even at a younger age. And my understanding is that the girl had to convince Charlie to do it, and now here we are. So what do you at Turning Point say to those young students? Because it seems like you've got to get younger and younger to get them aware of what's going on around them. What does TPUSA teach students at a very young age?
Absolutely. I mean, something that Charlie and Erica have always said is, it starts at home. It starts with the parents, and the parents being able to educate their children properly and be educated themselves on what to do. And I can happily say that Club America has hit college campus or high school campuses, across this country. We are seeing over 1,000 chapters, and more are continuing to be chartered. And I know that high school students, at the young age of 13, these freshmen in high school are hungry for the truth and to carry on Charlie's legacy more and more every single day. And it really is just a beacon of hope and encouragement to see that high schoolers even are getting involved politically. And I know we're only going to continue to grow.